Hello, we're local to local.
Yeah, I'm from Mobile, Alabama. I'm the John, and he's Dwight. He's from Hanson, Kentucky, and
That's right.
we have a lot of topics. More topics I think that we had like yesterday, or not yesterday, but in the last post rather. Uh,
On Tuesday, today's Thursday, or it was Monday night. Today's
we had fun
Wednesday.
today tonight. It took a lot of work because of how long the audio messed up and everything.
Yeah, we hopefully the issues will be a lot smoother and the audio should sound better, hopefully.
Yeah, yeah. I should be louder. He should be clear. But we do have a few things. We want to start out with you wanted to start with the audit in Perry County with Chris Gooch.
Yeah, so Chris Gooch is the county CPA, and I've looked over a lot of articles because there's not a lot that's always written about kind of small town stuff. So I try to look through a lot of these articles that are written and just try to get a little bit of details out of it and build from that. If you want to go to the page, we can kind of look
Yeah,
at it.
yeah. I'll look over the article you're talking about. We need to do better. Audit finds issues with Perry County Fiscal Court. This is from July 12th, 2024. It reads, we've updated our system. We'll start here. We updated our system. It'd be like the majority of our counties in the state of Kentucky. We're headed in the right direction after the
So this is
this
Allison Ball, by the way.
Allison Ball.
This is the Kentucky auditor.
Got you. All right. This audit also states the county need help with the transfer of financial management for Perry County 1 or District 1 of sanitation. Alexander says that district,
District 1.
yeah, it's on its own entity, and they are still responsible for it. And they said we put the account under the fiscal, or excuse me, rather, we put the account under the Perry County Fiscal Court. They thought it would be cleaner to put under Chris Gooch. He explained there's not enough money made in the wastewater treatment for it to pay and maintain a positive cash flow. The audit ball found the court was not maintaining okay control over cash, receipts, debts, and more. Alexander said it came from a staffing issue they were working to fix.
I think it's really odd, right? That their immediate thing is like, well, we thought it would be cleaner to put it under Chris Gooch because it doesn't make any, that still doesn't make any sense, right? Like, there's no explanation. I feel like if there is a reasonable explanation, it's their duty to say that and to say what that is
Yeah.
and to make that clear. Right.
And Chris Gooch's profiles are not really the most updated thing. We found one from 2010 that's kind of old. Maybe there's a newer one, but I didn't see one. It says it's really hard to for rural counties to hire enough personnel to do each thing. He said we need to do better. We need to do a better job getting everything documented exactly the way it should be. The auditor wants it to be presented to them, and that's where we're going. That's where we're going to be. Axon said they're going to do things better and hope to have a clean audit for 2023, 2024, which I think there's actually another, you sent me another post that was talking about the 2024, where
Was
they
there?
had, yeah, commits to change after audit findings. This is
Well, this is still from the 2021, 2022. They haven't released the last 2 year audits yet. They're still, I
still working
guess.
on it.
I don't know. I was told that it was supposed to come out this year in July and that they're late, but it might be next year. Who knows? We'll see.
One of the best things we've started doing is having the department head meetings, telling them exactly how the auditor wants purchase orders done and how they want paperwork presented and explained. And that's all for this post. We'll switch back over to this one. It says, however, in response to his findings, Judge Executive Scott Alexander committed to making changes to resolve issues in the future. So Scott Alexander's working on that. But this is from 2024, where they still haven't. It's just talking about them committing to the change they intend to do.
Yeah, and so this actually, I think, kind of talks about more in depth a little bit of what they needed to do, all these bulletin points here, because I think it's pretty important to keep positive records. I mean, this is my thing. Like, I understand you don't have enough staff and things like that, but it, if you've been operating as a county for so long, at some point you have to ask yourself, why aren't we efficient enough? Why don't we have a backup plan? And I mean, you can say that it's because you don't have enough people hired, but if you've been incorporated and a town for so long, I mean, what's your excuse, right? I mean, maybe you just didn't try too hard. Scott Alexander has been unimposed since he was elected, and it's he he was elected, and he has done some things. I mean, there's no doubt about it, right? Scott Alexander's pretty well liked, and I think that the most important thing is just to be like, hey, what's the hell? where is it? I mean, there's no clear explanation to why there's nothing other than there's no staff, right? And I think that there should be. I mean, it just kind of blows my mind that government's like, yo, I don't know.
Yeah, we, we
The-
got we got no idea. It's kind of out of our pockets, I guess.
we don't know where hundreds of thousands of dollars maybe went because I'm not sure exactly the amount that they're saying is missing, and they probably don't know the amount. And I think that's the concerning part,
Maybe
right?
Gooch
It's
Gooch
like
is holding on to it.
real. Um, I I think I think we'll see what comes out in the last 2 year audits when those are
Yeah,
released,
when those actually come
and
through. Yeah,
yeah, and we'll see if they actually did hold up to their promises. But I mean, I think it's important to remind people of the promises that these people are making because the 2026 election is coming up.
that is true. Yeah. Well, there's a election here in Mobile too with the mayor election. But we'll think we can have.
Yeah, your guys is going on right now, right?
Yeah, the first part happened just recently, and now they're going to a runoff because I think I want to say Chirigatis and Drummond went head to head with some other party tickets, kind of easing their
Can
way
you
in.
pull that up?
Yeah, I can't pull that up. Yeah, I did want to look at. Let me find that. Let me cut over to this for a second while I look for this. The Mobile mayor elections.
Yeah, because next year Hazard will be having county elections and city elections.
It is true, yeah. But the mayor, I think it's a lot more intense because it's definitely it's a big city. I think it's like a 200,000
Hmm.
population. I'm trying to find an article. A lot of these articles are a bit. There was one article I wanted, but specifically they had the little graph you could click on.
Hmm.
Let me see if I can find that. This is just a lot of videos.
There should be a website. I forgot exactly what it was called.
But basically, it's Drummond, Prine, Chiriogatis, and a few others. Here we go.
What did it go to a runoff? Didn't it?
Yeah, I went to a runoff, so it'll be holding on till September 4th, I want to say. If I can
Yeah.
find this thing I was looking at, my God, there's all these posts and none of them
Uh,
show the thing. Uh, Maybe this.
look, look at the type in runoff. Did you?
Mobile County runoff mayor. Perhaps this is it. Maybe. They really like their videos. They were with this lady I don't
Mhm.
recognize. Um,
Yeah, they really do. Sorry, guys. You guys can't see this. We're actively trying to find you guys a graph here.
yeah, there was a graph. I might just pull up an article and just use that. But there was a
Yeah.
graph that showed it. Here it tells us it right here anyway. But we'll come back over that. Yeah, in Mobile, Alabama, Drummond, Spiro Chirigatis, which is an odd name. Chirigatis, there it is right there. Chirigatis, he got 11,000 votes. And Paul Prine, I had seen a lot of them. We were actually picking my brother up from school, and there's a lot of people voting. And just at the school itself, I mean, they had signs lining the entire thing, and it was actually slowing down the traffic of actually getting the students because how many people were trying to vote. But yeah, Drummond received more votes than Shiro Goddess. However, Kai Hudson and Paul Pride, who got 8,000, 7,000 votes, they kind of mixed up and brought it to and especially because how close they were, brought it over to a runoff, which I believe the runoff happens if they'll show it here. But I do believe that she is basically won. I mean, basically, I mean, pretty much. I mean, she has a clear like 2,000 lead almost.
Mhm.
And it's really hard. One thing I found that was difficult really was when I was trying to learn more about the candidates is it's hard to find their websites. Spiro Chirigatis, he has his own website, but I couldn't find it after looking it up the first time, and I have never seen anything with Drummond either. But they will, yeah, run off. It's not the fourth, excuse me, it's the 23rd. But I think Drummond will most likely win. However, I believe it was Paul Prine who has the best. There's a word, but his demographics were very like good. Normally, black candidate will get more black votes, white candidate get more white votes. But Paul Prine was very mixed. Black communities voted for him, and white communities voted for him. With churches and things like that. Um, which is I don't know if it's unusual, but generally it's very cited, especially in Mobile, at least from what I've seen in past elections. But Connie Hudson, and actually I think it has statements from here. It says, "I'm grateful to my supporters, volunteers, their Mobilian. I haven't heard that one before. Who
Yes.
cares?
Mobillion.
It sounds like a new amount of money you can get.
Yeah,
Who
I'm a
cast their vote?
mobilionaire.
Yeah, I'm a mobilionaire too. Who cast their vote for me on a unified city? Drummond said, "This isn't my victory. It's a victory for everyone who believes we can tackle our challenge, but bring people together. The powerful coalition we've built." Proves that Mobile is ready for leadership that listens and unites. And all of this spurred because the former mayor actually dropped out of the election, or
Mhm.
he chose not to run. And I don't remember his reason. I think he was just getting old, maybe.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's the
just
surprising reason.
which yeah, it's true. A lot of old people like to stay in positions of power for the rest of their life until they die. Here it is. Yeah, Mayor Stimpson, right here, him. And he endorsed Cheerio Goddess, and which I guess Cheerio Goddess, even with the endorsement, was not popular enough to beat her out even before the runoff began. Because I mean,
Mhm.
she got that's about 2,000 more votes than them.
Well, I mean, I think that we'll see what these other people try to
Yeah, well, I'm interested in
vote
Paul
for,
Prime.
and if they go and vote, I mean, this is also the thing about runoff elections is, runoff elections, people might not go to them.
Yeah,
People, there might
there's
be
a
a
good
lot
chance.
less.
Hey, Paul Prank pulled through. I didn't even get to vote on election day, because we didn't even know it was election day when we were out there, and
Well,
we get
and
busy.
and you know that's the thing about off cycle elections is when they're not with a state or federal election, people
Yeah,
generally don't
well,
want to go out and
or they
vote,
don't.
and they have to say they don't know, you know, because it's not talked about
A
as
lot,
much.
however, I did notice a lot of people voting were a lot older. There was actually a very old grandma while we were out there voting. She walked all the way from the back parking lot to the very front Raptor because it's a long distance. I don't know why she parked back there, but it's a lot of older people. I didn't see many young people voting, at least in the one station that we were at. Even the people managing it were old. I mean, young people really don't get a place in a lot of local politics, I guess generally. At least it's usually old guy number one, old guy number two. They clash, and all the old people in the area vote for them. Because I really young people don't get into many elections besides maybe president, and even then I think there was like a few million that didn't vote in the national election every year.
Hmm.
And
Well, I mean, I think young Americans are disillusioned with stereotypical politics, and I
and
think that's where we're seeing
there's a
a
lot of
rise.
ideas that your vote doesn't matter either.
Right, and I think that's why we're seeing a rise in in alternative culture when it comes to politics. We see young people starting to believe in more radical ideas and things that I think maybe 50 years ago Americans generally wouldn't talk about publicly, would have seen as discriminatory towards like what they call pro-America. And I don't think that we should silence anyone upon their because of their views. I don't think that even if you are a radical Nazi or a radical communist, you have the right to say
The
what you
right to
want
speak,
within the
yeah.
constraints of the law.
Now
And I think
you get a
that
little bit out of pocket. Someone has a right to silence you if you're saying a lot of maybe
Very
racist
Star
or
Wars.
yeah. I mean, if you're saying the N word in public, they're probably going to stop you for that. But I mean, but if you're just you're preaching your ideology, whether it's bad or good, there's room for that. That's kind of the point of our politics in general. Even if there's a two-party system, there's still a lot of third parties, a lot of minority groups, whether they be, like I said, like I mean, you could be anarchist, you could have your local skinhead, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
There's a big variety. Now you might not support.
Well, the reason that they can exist is because normal people will always say, no, we believe in the values that we've created as an American society. And I think we can all agree that the Constitution was not perfect. The founding of this country was not perfect, but we have progressed.
We
And in
have
some
progressed.
ways, we've done ourselves wrong, especially double downing on negative policy and stuff when it comes to uh, bad military decisions and stuff like that. But I think also
We
we've
have a lot of
progressed in a
those.
way that helped people achieve this American dream that we speak so highly of.
Yeah, we
And I
love
think
our
that's
American dream.
not becoming anymore. I think that we're losing. our ability to hold that American dream.
we are losing our America. The young people, they're losing their American dream because I mean, really, it's hard to maintain an American dream when every all the single pair household, all the single family households, they're bought out by big corporations. Your neighborhood, your rent, your cost of living skyrockets, and the people behind you are seeing your year and they're saying, "No, it's your fault. You're not working hard enough. It's not actually the government that can't manage itself."
Hmm. I think it's important from time to time to really drive into young Americans what it is to care about your country and what it is to live in a country. Because a lot of people nowadays, especially younger people, and I think a lot of people are becoming disillusioned with the idea of having what they call imaginary borders and imaginary lines. And my response to that is, well, yes, I think it is stupid, but it's human behavior, right? And we live in that reality. We can't change from that reality. We live here now, and we kind of have to we have to protect what is ours. And we do that by ensuring that people, particularly countries and leaders that are diametrically opposed to the United States, do not have the ability to take away our torch, right? And a torch of liberty. And we do that by staying ahead. And sometimes it is costly. Sometimes we spend a little bit more money than we ought to do things. But also, we get so lost in trying to achieve our idealize Western goals that we forget that maybe nuclear energy is a good choice,
Yep.
and that green energy, particularly solar, and solar is good in small capacity, but wind farms, I mean, it's like nuclear is clean, nuclear
We
is
have so
very
many
green,
options.
and it's safe. It's safe as long as you have it done correctly and properly managed.
And you have to, but when we talk about the the stopping these foreign nations, things like that from putting out our torch, we don't mean things like when we instill dictators in foreign countries and then overthrow them because we don't like them when they switch over, which we've done that a lot. I mean, Cuba, for example. I mean, if you look back at Cuba, you may think, well, I mean, you think of Cuba, you think of Fidel Castro, you think of these other leaders, and you see this, and you have to
Mhm.
remember the only reason Cuba's like that is because of our intervention, not me or you, but the people in power, the government. Before Fidel, for example, they had Batista. We put in Batista, and he was a brutal dictator, even considered worse than Fidel at times. So when you put these people in power, you got to remember there's always that chance that they're not representing you anymore and they're trying to get that money, that coal money. And that's what we talk about
That
power.
bag.
That oil money, that coal money. I mean, think about all of these Middle Eastern wars. What do you think Joe Schmo over there in the Middle East is going to do to you compared to what your own leader is going to do to them in exchange for a little oil money? You have to think about that whenever when you're rooting for the wrong guy or the right guy. It doesn't matter. Maybe he's right in your heart. He could be wrong in a lot of others.
Mhm. Right. And I think and I think that's the thing that we can all disagree about certain stuff, but we can all agree that we are American, that we live in America, and that we have to protect, like I said, what is ours, right? Our freedoms, the very fundamental things that make us free in our
We
own
can't
sense,
let
right?
them
And
slowly slip away.
right, and especially not only to foreign governments, but to our own government. I mean, the we talked about in the last episode, right? The Patriot Act. I mean, things like this continuously happen where the government is imposing restrictions upon what you can do with your money because of who you are, what you're associated with, and sometimes it's reasonable, and sometimes they just don't like what you have to say, and it can go both ways, but we have to realize and be very vocal about when we see the government overreaching its boundaries on what it should and should not be able to do. Ronald Reagan said that the people is the driver and the government is the car. Right, the driver tells the car how far to go by where to go by which route and how far or how fast. Right, and it's as simple as that. Right, the people have always been the driver for the government because without the people, there is no government. That's what makes America special.
But sometimes it gets a little too smart. It becomes in a Tesla and it thinks it can drive
Yes.
wherever it wants, and that's an issue.
Yes.
You can't let your
That's
Tesla
called.
drive away on its own. You got to put the brake in. You got to turn off the screen maybe once in a while because
Hmm.
I mean, and that's what it is. A lot of our elected leaders, they think that our money is their money. Yeah, and they say, well, it's okay. I also pay taxes. Well, the difference is that you make $170,000 a year plus whatever you invest, because and the difference is that we don't got that kind of money. We're paying into it, and we're not getting results. Our roads are still broken. Our buildings are still collapsing.
Mhm.
Our people are still hungry. The homeless on the street and this kind of thing. While our investors in Congress, they sit up in the round table of people that stare at Mike Johnson and they say, well, next
Mhm.
move, we're going to give another 5 billion to another country that we like overseas, and we'll think about the people next time.
And this reminds me of a very specific moment in the 1982 vice presidential debates when God, what was his name? George H.W. Bush is vice president. God, I always forget this guy's
He's
name
kind of this
every
guy. I
time.
know who you're talking about. Very forgettable name, George
He,
H.W.
he what's his name?
It was I'm googling it. Dan Quayle. Quay.
Yes, Dan. Oh, because his son Ben Quayle is a real estate agent, I think.
Yep.
Something like that. But Dan Quayle, right? So Dan Quayle was talking about George H.W. Bush's administration and how in the first 4 years their plan was to focus on helping our allies overseas, and that during the second term they'll focus on helping the American people. And well, Al Gore's response to that was during Bill Clinton's first term, our goal will be to help the American people, not the other way around. And I think that right there kind of internalizes how a lot of people feel. Now, it's necessary for us to send countries money sometimes, but also we have problems in our own country that we are failing to solve, right? There are less than 1 million people in the United States that are estimated to be homeless, around 770,000. And you're telling me that the government cannot come up with an effective solution to at least put a percentage of those people in stable housing with a stable income and in some sort of work program. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me that issues can exist. We can have trillions of dollars that we are spending in all these other areas, but yet we still fail tremendously to actually accomplish anything. And I think that's because we spend so much money on junk, right, when trying to accomplish things that and overhead, right? It's always about overhead. It's always about you spent $10 billion to build two walls. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
And while all these problems are out there, all these problems that we have, the homeless, everything like that, you have to remember countries that we support. For example, Israel, which we talk about a lot. Israel has free healthcare. They have housing programs. They have all these things over in Israel. They have weapons programs, but like I said, free healthcare, it's a big one. And in our own Congress, while people are starving and dying on the streets, they float the idea of giving IDF, which is the Israeli Defense Force, the same benefits as United States soldiers,
Mhm.
and which is insane. I mean, we like you said, we have the starving, we have the homeless, and then we're going to float the idea of giving soldiers overseas money that they never deserved. What has an IDF soldier done for you? They didn't protect our country. In fact, the only thing that Israel's ever done to help our country in a war was blow up one of our ships, um, the USS Liberty.
Yeah, that is very true.
Which
And
they
also,
blocked telecommunications and kept on shooting at despite having one of the biggest American flags on a ship at the time. Anyways, continue what you're saying.
they were unmarked jets, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm. A lot, a lot
It's
of.
yeah, this is how I feel when people say things like that. I don't know if anyone's ever heard that song, right? What is that old communist song from like the 50s or whatever, right? Ain't I right? And so in that song, he says he's talking about Vietnam and how the politician man says we should go help the enemy. We should send some blood to help the enemy. And he said, well, no, we should send the politician man. That's how I feel, right? Uh, if you want to help a country that I mean, is doing nothing for us, right? Israel is only our friend because they have nuclear weapons and they're the only non-Europe country in the Middle East that has them. And that's about it. And between that and pulling half the strings in the government, they have a grasp. I mean, realistically, Israel's the only country in the world that can harbor American pedophiles and sex offenders with an extradition treaty, not get in trouble. And also, they're the only country that can not disclose how many warheads that they have to any country.
They
Uh,
also have a big handle with the U.S. pharma. You can go over to Israel as a pharmaceutical company, use Israeli testing, Israeli different things like that, and you can produce it to the FDA, and it'll speed up your quality assurance process or whatever it is, where you get your product out there on the market.
mhm. You know, and I think that it's important right now to say that when we're talking about countries, we're talking about the people that run the
The
country. We're
government,
talking
not
about
the
the
people.
government,
If I
right?
say
Not
you say
not
I hate Czechoslovakia, I'm not talking about the little guy that lives in his hut. I'm talking about the big government. You know what I mean?
right. The big evil guy, like Pol Pot.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, right.
or you can, I mean, you don't have to, I mean, you can hate China, but, or rather the Chinese government. That doesn't mean that you hate the guys that make the toys and they work in the factories or anything like that. It means that you hate, I always want to say Mao Zedong. I know it's not Mao Zedong. It's, Xi Jinping.
Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah. Mao Zedong always pops in my head for some reason. I'm not really sure why. It's a
But
fun, I think it's
he is
funny.
Mao Zedong. I mean,
Is
he's
it
literally
Zedong? Or I think it was Zendong.
yeah, I think it's Zendong. I don't know.
It's a funny name. I would, I feel bad for him, to be honest. I mean, yeah, Mao
Well,
Zedong.
every cat was a reincarnation, you know?
Which like it reminds me of all those kind of like North Korea, where their first leader was born under a double rainbow and could speak,
Yeah.
uh, all kind of thing. He could speak at like 6 months old, and he could
Mhm.
walk and everything like that. I aspire to be like that.
Well, I think it's really funny because when I think I talked about this last time, right? When it comes to Western media versus state-run media in the East, in other countries, and it's obvious, a state-run media to us, it's propaganda. But what is freedom of speech, right? Freedom of press. Freedom of press gives them the opportunity to say what they want, right? And we believe it. Right? We believe, well, this is not the government. This is a private organization. And now it's started to deteriorate because people, especially with the 2016 election, that's what dissolved the trust in what they call the alphabet organizations, the FBI, the CIA, all of the, and even the news organizations, right? That's why you see these non-legacy media groups kind of gaining so much traction, and I think that's what's contributing to the rapid change that's going on in politics. Is that people are becoming disillusioned, right? I mean, the internet is something that has revolutionized the way that people receive information and send information and the way that investigations are
Especially
conducted.
TikTok. TikTok was a huge
Yes.
one.
Right. And so you can only imagine, right, the misinformation, whatever you call it, right? All of the things that are on the internet right now, the semi-truths, the half-truths, we have to be careful, right? And that's why I think it's important to let's see. John F. Kennedy said, "Trust." No, right? Reagan said, "Trust but verify." But John F. Kennedy said something very similar. He said something about civility is not a sign of weakness, and uh,
And we don't like secret societies. That's another.
so yeah, something like that. It was something about.
So
I have actually
yeah, you
let
have
me
to
think about it.
find
I have
that.
it written down. I have it
But
written down. I think.
when we have to when you see a thing, you have to fact check it a lot because a lot of people they'll say things that they see on like Facebook, for example, or let's use this for example, the school shooters. Whenever there was a person on Facebook and this got floated around heavily, especially after many of them happened, it gets floated around that every single one of them were transgender, and this is a common thing that pops up. I see it a lot. And I'll go on Facebook and I'll see it. And it's like you have to realize, a lot of these things are lies. So most people, if someone online can lie to you for their benefit, they will, and that's one of the costs of anonymity on the
Mhm.
internet. But no, I mean, I believe only two of them were actually transgender. Well, this is this person who, and this list that was spread around contains like 10 or 20 different names. Well, only two or so have been actually confirmed, and well, most of them aren't. So you kind of have to fact check, independently fact check, because I mean that's the idea, right? We have our own independent press. I mean, for example, Fox News will push an agenda, CNN will push an agenda. For example, when the Blackstone shooting happened, the major news media's They said no, it was just a few civilians and a mother, a Blackstone mother who was killed, and a employee who was also a mother. They neglected to inform that she was a CEO. And they then went on to push this idea that the shooter had actually instead targeted the NFL because he got a concussion or some kind of brain thing back in high school. He never played in college or professionally. Never did any of that. And they
Mm.
tried to say the NFL was what he was targeting, when in all actuality he was targeting a CEO. And then news media pushed this idea that he was a white man, which the race maybe does not matter as much, but there's a lot of different things pushing. CNN said he was a white man carrying a machine gun.
Well,
Fox News actually, and it was weird at the time whenever they said the gun. CNN had the right gun. Fox News was pushing a much different gun. So there's a lot of misinformation in every crowd, regardless of your quote ideology, whether even though both are owned by
it's
similar people.
regardless of intent sometimes. Sometimes it's unintentional misinformation.
It can be at times, but you have to remember there's a lot of there's
There's
agendas.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's a lot of people who are writing these who have personal beliefs and personal agendas that typically align with their employer's beliefs. And so I think it can also vary from person to person, the maybe the white lies or things that they may try to slide in there, or maybe bigger things, agendas that they may be trying to push. And what you were talking about reminded me of something. And what were you saying? You were talking about the shootings and everything that was happening. Okay, it it reminds me of every time when it comes to the race of an individual who commits something horrendous. I'm not just talking about someone murdering someone, but particularly when someone does a mass shooting, a school shooting, does like runs their vehicles into parades and stuff. When they're white or pretty much white, they always let that be known. But when the individual is not, the media kind of doesn't really mention that. And one of the main things that I bring this up for is during when Kyle Rittenhouse had all that things going on, right? And he was found not guilty and all that, right? The first minute after that whole shooting occurred, a tweet was posted that a white supremacist had started shooting at the BLM protest, right? Which just wasn't true. He
They
wasn't a
killed
white
three black
supremacist.
men. That's what it was. Yeah.
Right, and so it's like that. But when what was it was where the black individual ran, he stole a car and he ran it into a Christmas parade, and he had a long rap sheet and he was let out from I think the no bail thing they had, and he ran his car into that group of children and things. And he also, I'm pretty sure he stabbed someone and stole their car, and and he's literally already went to jail for that. So, I mean, that's a failure of the justice system. But the news media neglected to mention that he was black originally, and then he disappeared for an entire year until he was sentenced. Nothing ever showed up about this guy. Like Kyle Rittenhouse was in the news every single day, and I think that it's older. I think it's starting to change, and I think it rapidly evolves the way that it goes. And they're trying to best make it fit with whatever right now is going to make people the angriest or the most the most energetic about topics.
Mm.
That's why they like to try to make abortion like a national issue, right? Which it eventually it could be overturned again, right? I mean, it's just a matter of time until those things happen. But it's a little misleading when you try to use it for a push in a federal election where it doesn't hold any weight, right? Where even if you did something, the Supreme Court is going to say you can't pass that legislation, you know? And until Roe v. Wade is reinstated, there's Congress cannot pass any legislation that is going to make a federal abortion law is going to make it legal and accessible. And that's just something that we're going to have to deal with until the
Yeah.
Supreme Court decides that it's different. And like I tell people, Donald Trump is not going to be president forever. If you like him, if you dislike him, and no president should be president forever. And things will change. Not everything is set in stone, and that's why presidents can be challenged. That's why we have three branches, right? There's systems of government. So if you don't like a law, you can challenge it. And if you don't like that decision, you can challenge that decision and then challenge that decision
Mm.
all the way to the Supreme Court. There's recourse for what you don't like. When that starts being taken away from us where we cannot access it, then at that point, people are left to decide what to do, whether it's follow in the footsteps of our founding fathers or to I don't know, elect someone different in whatever office it may be.
You do have to
Um,
open your eyes, though, at times whenever your own president
mhm.
starts suggesting things like being a dictator. Maybe a dictator isn't so bad, as one thing he has said before. He
Look up
floats.
that tweet actually about Representative Macy. We talked about him.
If you can send it to me, I can pull it up. But there's a lot of weird things that he says, and you kind of have to pay attention to it. Another thing I wanted to circle back on was the like fact checking. Um, you have, and there's a very big thing on the internet, where there's excuse me, there's a theory of so-called dead internet theory, right? And I don't believe that entirely. However, it is important to note that a lot of things you read might just be from the government, right? Because there was for example, in 2013 from Reddit, which is a very popular website. In 2013, it was revealed they did a most addicted city chart. And you want to know what the one of the top cities were? It was Eglin Air Force Base. Eglin Air Force Base with over 100,000 Reddit visits. Eglin Air Force Base only has a population of 2,789. On
Yeah,
top of
and
that,
that's
Eglin has almost all of the Air Forces, or at least most of them, from what I remember, their technological divisions. There are,
yeah, that's also what I was gonna say. That's
yeah,
what I remember.
all of their divisions that have to do with computers, with things like that. So it makes you wonder at what point is it real and what point is it fake? First, and another thing, uh, during 4chan, early on 4chan, or not early on, but later on, they showed their highest like cities or the countries with the most users because there was this topic that was being floated that there was Russian bots on the website that were posting a lot of things. Now 4chan is a cesspool. It always has been, but there was this theory that there was Russian bots that would spread propaganda. Whenever they released the most countries, it was found that Israel was one of the countries that used the website the most, had the most posts. It was I believe it was one of the,
4chan.
yeah, 4chan Israel most posts, or not, maybe not the most, but it was definitely up there. It actually
No,
outbeat out
4chan was number one behind Russia. No, it was no Russia was
Israel.
no, no, it was Israel. It was Israel, America, Russia.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, Israel was one of the biggest posters on
Number
4chan.
one.
Yeah,
Oh no, it was double. It was double America and
yeah.
Russia. Everybody
So
knew it.
you have to wonder at what point is it propaganda? At what point is it things like this? And another thing, whenever Israelis they do self victimization, this is a thing that's been documented. Or and sometimes it is Jewish people too. In certain areas, they will spray. It's been seen these just will spray paint swastikas. They'll do things like that to victimize themselves in certain areas, and the IDF and Israel has been notorious for doing that, and they do it very often. There was actually a young girl, very young girl. She was in an ambulance, and it was a Palestinian ambulance. She was, I think, she was under 10 years old, and she was shot over 300 times because a Israeli IDF tanker lit up the ambulance. Um, so there, and then they turned around. They said, well, it was not our fault. We didn't do anything wrong. We can't figure it out. Blah 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 blah. And there's victimization, and at the same time, while they're doing all these things, they're on places like 4chan spreading propaganda. Our own Air Force Base has the most use on Reddit. So how much do you read is real? Because not no one. This is I had read this before. I don't remember who says it, but no one is immune to propaganda.
Yeah, and I think that's true. I think anyone eventually can be persuaded if given
Propagandized.
the right opportunity, right? Especially with like powerful figures. There are a lot of historical figures, Hitler, Stalin, people who their personality was demanding. And there's a particular thing that Hitler did. It was I think they call it like the Hitler stare or something, but it was an uncomfortably long gaze, but not long enough to be like weird, but long enough to give that power. It was a look, and I remember hearing about it in a documentary years ago that I watched, and and that kind of thing, it fascinates me, right? Because it's human behavior, and I think we can look for that in our politicians. Because just because Hitler was an evil guy doesn't mean that he wasn't a human that exhibited human traits like other
Exactly.
people
And
do.
we have to
And that's
remember,
not, and that's not saying that people who show those traits are like Hitler, but that is saying that you can see how powerful a leader is, how demanding they can be by the type of traits and the
and they
type
hold
of
themselves.
speech, the mannerisms, right?
And because you have to remember, Hitler was not a domineering figure, at least not in his own stature. He was 5'8". He was all over the place in personal talks, and he had a funny clothing style. But at the same time, he's this powerful leader with this that comes off domineering. You would think that he was 10'10" the way he was, but then at the same time, he's just this guy, right? And I mean, you see this in a lot of people. Donald Trump has that thing where he's a bit he tries to be domineering. A lot of politicians actually do that. I think Obama tried to do that a little bit too. Lyndon B.
Well,
Johnson,
yes, well, him and his Johnson, he loved to show
Jumbo.
it. Yeah, Jumbo Johnson. It's that's what you guys what his name was. The what was I gonna say? What were we talking about? I don't forgot.
I don't know. Let me see if I can pull up that picture
Yeah, yeah, pull that up because look, we
Tom.
got
We
we
was
got
spiraled again. We do this a lot, but I think it's character. I think that's a character. Let me add
it's a
this.
character.
Yeah, it's good character. It's just gonna pop up on the what you call it screen. I'll delete it. But basically, this is talking about Thomas Massey, who if you can elaborate on what Thomas Massey did recently. What Thomas Massey did, the thing that he had done recently.
Ah, yes, yes. This post here, this beautiful post. Um, this is a tweet that I came across, and it's from the leading report. So apparently, a White House staffer was like, "Yo, you can't be saying that, right?" Basically, anyone who signs the papers, I'm not sure exactly what it says. I can't read that well in the small words, but whatever the official wording is there. Basically, if you sign it you're against the administration and that like that's the kind of scary wording that we're talking about and he's been using that wording and now we're just waiting for the actions to follow because eventually if his true goal is to try to take over the United States or to try to control and power is he's going to have to actually take steps. And I think when that happens, I think a lot of people are going to be very disillusioned immediately because I think the strongest thing that Americans have is their ability to realize that we are a free country and that we can't have kings. Cory Booker said it, and I agree, right? We can never have kings because George Washington didn't want to be a king. He set the precedents for 2 terms, right? And then that was established after FDR's fourth term and he died. Because they're like, we can't have
We
that.
know Truman, and yeah, we don't want a four-term
Right.
president. It just doesn't work.
Right. I mean,
And the only
I
reason
believe
he
that
is
ordinary Americans will stay to their values.
only reason he was a four-termer was because of World War II. There had never been a over two-term president in the past.
Hmm.
I believe Theodore tried, but he was not successful in this attempt.
Yes, he received more votes, I think, than any other third party candidate. I think he actually received more votes than, or maybe percentage wise, than Ross Perot. And Ross Perot,
Ross Perot was in
almost
like I think it was eight.
20%.
Yeah, I think it was like 18 million votes.
Yeah, it was almost 20% of the popular vote. I mean, it was an incredible number. And I think if he never dropped out, I think he will have a really good chance of winning that election because he was a self-made billionaire who spent almost $100 million
Nope, you're lagging.
about it. Mm. Oh, do you hear me a little bit
I
better?
can hear. I can hear you. Yeah, you started lagging.
Okay. But he spent all this money just trying to inform about the economy, trying to get average Americans to be interested in something that deeply affects their lives, that they may not find a particular interest in, but something that is going to not only be fundamental in their life, but their children's life and their grandchildren's life.
Yeah. All right. We should probably get back on to the series of deets that
Hmm.
we want to talk about. We talked about the fiscal, but we did want to talk about Lawrence Ray. We want to talk about the student. What's her name? Lucan Snelling. Uh,
No,
Lincoln.
no, no, not. No, yeah, yeah,
Lincoln Snelling, yeah,
yeah,
Snelling.
yeah.
And there was also
Yeah, let's do this one, the Perry County Sheriff.
oh, Perry County Sheriff. Yeah, here, let's make me tab
Yeah.
into that real quick. Perry County Sheriff, and that's to
Yeah.
run for new position. Engel.
So this kind of leads off from what we were talking about earlier. This is Sheriff Engel was going to retire, and he's kind of renounced those plans to run for Scott Alexander's position, the guy that we were just talking about in the fiscal court with the
Um,
audits and everything.
the
He's
judge
been
executive.
elected. Yeah, he's been elected for the last 8 years. So this is the first time that voters will get to vote on a judge executive
And not just have
in
one
8 years.
guy over and over and over again. This comes as he announced he would not seek re-election as county sheriff after serving 2 terms. Although he was registered as an independent, Engel, is that how you pronounce it? Engel?
Engel.
Engel. I said he is not plans to run a Republican ticket, which is interesting. In my opinion, I don't think any judge should have a political party. I think it's a bit odd, generally, for any judge to have that kind of view.
Well, you see, on the county level, they can do that. On the city level, here when I run, it's all nonpartisan.
Which
So
is very
you
argument.
know,
It's like how come, right? Oh, why can't it go down to the lower levels? Because I mean, really, it's really. I mean, maybe it's hard to find nonpartisan people, but I have
no,
to
but I mean,
now judge.
but you can be registered with a political party. It's just that there will be no primary. I mean, I don't know. It depends if there's multiple candidates. I'm not really sure with the whole Kentucky election thing, particularly but from my understanding is that only 4 counties in Kentucky are partisan elections locally.
He says, I
That
would
they
like
do not
this is his
go into
words.
some program they have.
Yeah. Joe Ingles says, I would like to take this opportunity to announce my intention for filing for Perry County Judge or the executive or judge executive on the Republican ticket this November. I've been asked many times over the several years to my consider. God, I can't read. I think it's gonna do my eyes, which it does. I need to get my vision checked. I have been asked many times in the last several years to consider running for office. I have never had any intention of doing so. My only goal was to do a good job as sheriff, to go home after my second term. Things change as needs change. I recently switched to an independent as I'm center of the road type of leader. But he does plan on running a Republican ticket. It's interesting. But I mean that could be
Yeah, well,
interesting. A new or a comeback for the same spot.
I mean, yeah, I think that I mean it's good. I think competition is good. Competitive elections is what we need, especially locally. Right now in the last federal election, there were a lot of previously competitive districts that were uncontested. Uncontested elections are rising, and I think that that is very problematic. We have to have competitiveness, and I don't think that um competitiveness has to be between two rich guys or two people who have made a successful career. I think that someone who's 21 years old, who has an interest in politics and has the ability to run on a local ticket or on a state ticket, I think that they should do so.
Young people
And I
should get
think
into politics. Yes.
right, yeah, and I think that even if you lose, I think that it's a good way to it's a stepping stone into a career. It's a stepping stone. It's a path forward, and that's what this podcast is all about. Is kind of giving that right is getting local people to care, right, and hopefully younger people. I mean, that's really what we're after is people, and local and
Yep.
getting younger people to care about their future because their future is long, right? The politicians that make our decisions today, even locally, their future is not as long as mine,
They're gonna
hopefully.
look. They're all gonna
Um,
be dead in like 10 years. So we need to kind of we need to kind of wrap it up a little bit.
I don't know, maybe 20, maybe
Maybe
25. I don't know.
I mean, hey,
You never
20 years they're gonna be in wheelchairs being rolled up, like that one senator out in California, that passed away. They're gonna be rolling up into the Senate with their wheelchair. Um, which I mean, generally, like more young people need to be in there. I mean, in Mobile, I believe my House district, my not my the main Congress, but the state level Congress, my House district. The woman in my seat, she's a Democrat, and she has ran unelected last time and most of the time. I believe she's been in office since 2012. and only one person's ever run against her, I believe, which is absurd. I mean, hell, I mean, she may be the best damn state representative there ever was, but that doesn't mean that because someone always better could come in, yeah, or maybe worse will come in. We see that a lot with presidents. I mean, we went from who came before Woodrow Wilson, that kind of thing. So, um, 'cause Woodrow Wilson was a bad
Okay.
guy.
Oh yeah. Oh, Woodrow Wilson won against
Dewey.
in 1912. He won. I can't remember, but that's when Theodore Roosevelt ran for the third term. But he
Well, there you
wasn't.
go. I mean, there you go. Theodore Roosevelt beat the old man. Not really, because it was another big target, but still, Bull Moose Party. But yeah,
Yeah. Well,
people need to
well,
be in politics more generally. I mean,
yeah.
we're
No, I
both
mean,
young. I mean, you're a little bit older than me. It's 56, but uh,
I'm not fucking 56.
you're
You two
20,
can't listen to this guy.
20, 20.
20. I'll be 21 this year.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I forgot you aren't even able to drink.
Yeah, I'm not able to drink yet. Which I mean, I don't really want to drink alcohol. This is not fun.
You're a good Christian man. You never done that in your life.
Yeah, we'll just go with that.
We'll go with that. Yeah. What is this down here?
So I mean, this is I mean that's pretty much it with this. I mean, but
It's not
it
very
is an
historical.
interesting. Yeah, I mean, it is an interesting thing to consider.
Here's Lawrence Ray we were talking about. Lawrence Ray, since for years long credited crimes against students at Sarah Lawrence College and others. You were talking about this more. You know more about this guy.
Yeah, my girlfriend was telling me all about this thing. She watched the Netflix thing on it. So, this guy here, he apparently moved. So he got out of jail or prison or something along these lines, and I don't remember what he did. It's something about fraud, and he moved into his daughter's college dorm with all her roommates, and essentially bro just like he manipulated them, and he like would like I don't know, he's literally insane, like the things that he did, like he would have sex with them and all types of stuff, like just insane type of like manipulation to do it. I mean, it would get them to cry and get them to confess to things and would have them for hours talk, something. And he was very paranoid. His mother apparently drugged him or something when he was younger, and that he made him a little psychotic apparently, because he would question if they were talking to his mother, who was dead by the way, and if they were working with his mom and stuff like that, and they would come up with an answer that he wanted even if it wasn't true, just because he, no matter what you told him, he would say, well, that's not true. Oh, his mom's not dead. I've been corrected,
Here's a
sorry.
picture of him had to be removed in a stretcher from his previous court appearance. Here's one of the victims, Claudia Dury. Irreversible damage from her years of abuse by Ray. Here is the picture of her. There's Felicia Rosario,
Mhm.
uh, Isabella Pollock.
Mhm.
What's her name? I think that's Pollock. Here is this is Dury. It says that Ray ordered her to strip naked, then handcuffed her hands and legs to a chair with handcuffs. I figured that's assumed with the handcuff part. He was convicted in 2022 on a number of charges, including racketeering, conspiracy, money laundering, and sex traffic. Now, I wonder when did the money laundering come in?
So he had a lot of money when he arrived. I think he was already doing a lot of bad stuff. I'm not particularly sure where they got his money. Maybe he's pimping them out and stuff. I didn't read much into it yet, but I'm curious to see what the article says about
Did
that.
he have them in like Stockholm syndrome or something? I mean, I'm very
Yeah, so I think
the
he basically had them like that.
the fiend brainwashed the young people, convinced them, a number of them, that he had damaged their property or his property or
Yes,
poisoned him. He recorded the victims
yes.
to make
So
false confessions and used the videos. Oh, so he was basically saying like, yeah, he got them to confess to things they didn't do, and he was using it against them.
yeah, and he would be like $8,000 to fix the oven door. And she'd be like, okay. And I've been corrected here by wherever that guy is on Joe Rogan's show. Apparently his mother is alive and he lives in constant fear that she'll find him again. And he's always kind of like, did my mother come visit you? Type shit.
Oh, and
So
on
he's
December
living that paranoia.
2018, Rayfear Dury, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Dury. I think Dury is the right word. Might be slipping out from his control. He tortured her for hours in a Manhattan hotel. She testified at trial. Ray ordered Dury to strip naked. This is what they're talking about earlier. He poured water on her and positioned the chair next to an air conditioner to lower her body temperature. He also suffocated her with a plastic bag. She told jurors, and this is a
Hmm.
picture of her right here. I was suffocating. I was terrified. I was trembling. You can't breathe. You want to breathe a lot. That just makes it worse. It was terrifying. She told the jurors the sadistic abuse, the alleged sadistic abuse. A lot of this is alleged, but it's. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I think
Well, I think he was convicted already of it, was he not?
he. I'm not sure. His top lieutenant, a lieutenant. That's interesting. He get the ranks. Former student Isabella Pollock pleaded guilty in September to a single
So that
point.
was like his. I
I guess
forget
that's like
exactly
his. This is him
what
right
she
there.
did, but he made. I'm pretty sure he made her like his first
Like
like
his.
girlfriend.
This is her for
Okay,
his
so
quote unquote
he
former
got
student.
60 years, and Isabella got 4.
Yeah, this is from what is this article from?
So
It's
apparently I'm
oh yeah,
right.
no, it's
His
yeah, right here,
60
60
years was
years.
the first
Unpaid
girlfriend.
labor, mentally manipulated, and sex trafficked over the course of nearly a decade. Mr. Ray's
Yeah.
conduct in this case was particularly aggravating. His crimes were particularly heinous, Judge Lewis Lyman said before handing down the sentence Friday morning in federal court. Lyman said Ray robbed victims of their self worth, memories, ultimately their bodies, adding he had the evil genius to mentally break his victims. It was sadism, pure and simple. So Ray, I guess in a sense, which is very interesting, he was able to brainwash that many people. Uh, which I mean,
And
I'm wondering how like what the to the extent how he brainwashed rather.
well, from what I've seen, at least a little bit I did from the Netflix film, it seemed that a lot of it had to do around uh trying to frame it in the sense that he's trying to help them like find them and be open with themselves. And I
Along
think
with
that's where the
the leverage that he had.
right, and so the I think the sexual exploitation comes from the idea that they have to be free with themselves or comfortable with themselves, right? And that's kind of his mode of manipulation, right? Is framing it in a helpful way, in a way that's saying, "Oh yeah, I'm actually here to help you. I'm not having sex with you and all your friends because I want to. I'm doing it because I'm here to help you, and this is giving you a better life."
He also groomed them as well, which is I guess that's how he kind of moved them into the mental
Mhm.
state along with the leverage and everything.
And so and he eventually did move them into their his own place with because he did have money,
Yeah.
but he originally moved into the dorm. And so apparently the Isabella became evil. Uh
Became his
she was
lieutenant.
right, so she was cruel, made fun of Claudia being strangled with the plastic bag, and also the one who was sleeping with him in the bed, right, is his girlfriend.
Okay.
She would put her hand on his junk and sleep like that, all because Larry claimed she had childhood sexual abuse and needed parental figures' help.
He was really digging in.
Oh. No, oh, my bad. So, correction, I read it
He
wrong.
was it he needed it?
He, no, he slept in the bed with Isabella and his girlfriend.
Oh,
So there were 3 of them in
and
the bed.
oh, okay, I got you. Uh, and
Yeah.
60 years, he'll be long dead by the time he gets out,
Yeah.
which is good. People like this really don't deserve to walk around. He's probably gonna die in prison, most likely, if I had to imagine.
Hmm.
Probably early on too. At least that
What
kind of
else?
thing.
So, yeah. So here, down there, it talks about his. He extracted false confessions.
Yeah, that's what we
Right.
talked.
Talking
We
about
talk about the
property
other
damage.
post. Yeah.
Let's see. Oh my goodness. Forfeit $2,444,000.
Sale his Go Day portfolio in the Pinehurst, North Carolina. So this is the residence where the labor took place in Pinehurst, North
Okay.
Carolina.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that's the property he bought.
Wow.
I'm not sure where they were going to school.
Yeah, I
I
don't get it.
guess
And
in New
she was.
York.
I mean, I'm assuming New York. It hasn't really mentioned. Well, I mean, that pretty much covers that entire thing, really. But it's just insane that he
Mhm.
was able to get away with it for so
Well,
long.
is this a federal?
This is from the southern, this is the United States Southern District of New York. So yeah, I'm assuming New York.
Okay. Okay. Because I was wondering if this was something that was a federal crime. Because if they were in New York and maybe under his manipulation and control, he, um, transported them to be abused in another state on another facility. Maybe it made it, that would make it a RICO federal case, something like that, right? Because, and that's why RICO was created, was to get mobsters and stuff like that. Because it was easy, right? I mean,
Yep.
and it was hard to prosecute crimes that were committed in multiple states because there was really no way to put that into one. And so that's why they kind of started doing those RICO laws so they could have federal courts and they could actually get these mobsters on crimes that would put them away.
Yes, like we had two more topics. We did in the last or the previous entry or podcast rather, we talked about Lakin Snelling
Yeah.
with the baby that was found in the closet wrapped in a towel, which it did exclude a handful of details. I can't actually get the coroner report. If I may, I could pause it on the coroner's report.
Yeah. So, yeah, let's see if we can do that here.
Oh, cool.
Oh, here we go.
And there, here we go. You can't see down at the bottom. It's not really that big of a deal. Anyways, it says considering the birth of an infant, tampering with the physical evidence and abuse of a corpse, officers were dispatched to the listed suspect's address regarding a deceased infant being located inside the closet. Infant was located wrapped in a towel inside a black trash bag. So this baby was wrapped up, put in a trash bag, put in the closet, and I'm not sure who. We don't know who reported it as of now, do we? And she
I think it was apparently her roommate. I'm not sure how true that is or what, but
we'll have to see
um,
whenever the official
she
is good.
I believe she went to class afterwards, and at some point during then the police
There is a
called her to the
technician
residence.
at Kentucky State. She
Yeah,
was given
Kentucky State University.
she was given $100,000 was it $100,000 bond
That's where your
from the
$1,000
state.
gone. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's going to pay that, which is only $10,000, but it's still a lot. Furthermore, the listed suspect admitted concealing the baby by cleaning any evidence, placing all cleaning items inside the used trash bag, including the infant who was wrapped in a towel. In the process of cleaning the evidence of the birth, the listed suspect tampered with said evidence that had proved she had given birth by wrapping the infant in towels and placing it inside a black trash bag. The listed suspect treated the corpse in a way that would outrage ordinary family sensibilities.
Right.
So
And
she
so
did
so this
took everything.
so we still are waiting,
We
I
haven't actually
suppose,
got the
for
official
the
things yet.
coroner.
Yeah, the coroner's
Right.
report has
So
not been released as of now.
right. So we don't know what the exact details of the case are, and the coroner's report will determine if the baby ever took a breath of air. And from that point, they will have to determine how the baby died. Was it from natural causes or was it from something that was inflicted? And also, they have to judge intent, regardless of what is charged, because she did conceal birth. And for whatever reason that she did it, the law doesn't care. And I think that's important to say. It's not how I feel, but it's how the law feels about it. And the law doesn't care. And so they see in a black and white kind of situation. But when you go into the courtroom, there are people that can testify on your behalf and say, well, actually this thing, was contributing to her decision making. And it may have affected her ability to make a clear decision, especially if the baby was born stillborn, right? And she
Yes.
simply just didn't call the police, right? She may not have known what to do, and so there's context that has to be included before we can really make decisions, because
It's very easy to judge early on.
yes,
Because I mean, a lot of things. I mean, her going to class afterwards, other things like that. Um, it can bring you to be a little bit curious, especially with her hiding the evidence of birth inside the bag with the dead baby.
mhm,
So at times it can be a bit thing, but we did wait for the coroner's report to see how things came out.
yeah. But that's just a little update. She was officially charged. She went to court on Tuesday.
Yes, yes. I'm still waiting for the coroner to give a proper assessment because I mean, without that, they can't determine if it was like the abortion or if it was a
Right.
things like that. Uh,
And she is on house arrest in Tennessee at her parents' home. I believe it
yeah,
it,
after
it,
being
it
bailed
says
out.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think she has court on the 23rd of September.
Which we will see what actually happens when that comes out, and we'll try and keep update on that because it's a very interesting case. It's not often you hear about things like that, at least not at colleges
Mm.
kind of thing. Because it is it's a weird set of circumstances. Really, it is.
Yeah. I mean,
She also entered a not guilty. I think that's something we forgot to mention. She said not
yeah.
guilty.
Not guilty plea. I mean, if I was in her situation, I think I would also
Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna
say
plead
same
guilty?
thing.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's especially with the whole, you have a lot that can help you in that circumstance. Um, Either way, it is a loss. But yeah, here's another picture of her because she's a on the stunt team, right? Yeah, stunt team.
Yeah, she's a cheerleader
Well,
for the University of Kentucky.
we do on top besides that, that is one of the last things. We also have the this is one thing that you want to talk about as well. I think I
Yes.
ever switched over to the tab.
Oh, no, we didn't.
It's all right. Basically, we read everything anyway. I thought I
Yeah.
clicked on the tab. I guess something ever happened. I'll click over to it now though. We have in our tab. This is Donald Mobelini. You said this is his Court of Appeals.
Yeah, so this is it says the Commonwealth of Kentucky Court of Appeals. So this is from 2022. This is in regards to what we talked to yesterday when it came to the sexual assault lawsuit that was filed in 2019 that originated in 2017. And this is the details of the case. And this is an appeal to essentially qualify Mobilini and the other two chaperones for qualified immunity. And that motion was denied, but there has been no updates in the case. And so this actually goes through what happened uh, during the alleged incident.
Yes. So it says, I'll start up here. Because this matter, or actually, let's see, October 17th, Haley Lawson, 16-year-old junior attending Hazard High School early in the semester. Lawson decided to go on a class trip to New York and Washington, D.C. Students had the parents' permission for a slip. She got her mother to sign it. Upon leaving the trip, there were room assignments based on those requests. Lawson chose two male students as her roommates with their parents' approval. The class departed on October 27th following a football game, including Lawson. There are 51 students on the trip. Addition, chaperones, covenant students. Principal Mobelini and two teachers, Breeding and Glasser. The students were required to drop off their luggage, backpacks, and purses before the trip. The chaperones searched bags prior to leaving Hazard. After traveling through the night, the group arrived at Times Square in New York. The following day, students were allowed to tour on their own and meet back at a certain time. Following the dinner, the group went to a Broadway play. After the play, they returned to a time, boarded on the bus to the hotel in New Jersey. The following day, they returned to New York City for more touring. They were scheduled to take a cruise on the Hudson River, but missed the boat. They were again allowed to roam Times Square after a visit back to the Empire State Building. The students boarded the bus trip back to the hotel in New Jersey. The bags were not searched after any of their free time in New York City, which is a interesting thing not to search students'
And it's
bags.
going to become important.
This will become very soon. Yes, at the hotel, each chaperone stayed up one night to monitor the students. There's some confusion over who was responsible for holiday duty. Mobelini stated that he took over holiday duty the first night, but Glasser stated that he took over holiday while Mobelini periodically checked in. Breeding stated she took holiday duty the second night. Mobelini testified that he heard a whistle blowing sometime during the night and went to investigate. Mobelini and Breeding both testified they did not hear any disruptions on the second night. The group returned to the hotel on the second night, sometime after 1 a.m. In her deposition, Lawson stated that she received a text from a male student asking her to join a party in another room. Lawson said there was 12 to 15 students in the room. When she joined, they had they had a window open and a towel on the door. Some students were drinking alcohol and smoking marijuana, which was acquired in New York City. Lawson said she became intoxicated after drinking some alcohol offered by another student. A male student identified as CF walked Lawson back to her room. Lawson testified once she and CF were inside the hotel room, he tossed her on the bed and held her down. Lawson testified that she told him no, but CF continued to hold her down, take off her clothes, and then rape her. Lawson testified she passed out shortly after CF left the room. The following morning, Lawson called her mother, then reported the incident to Mobelini. When the group arrived in Washington, D.C., Mobelini, Breeding, Glasser, Lawson, and CF, and each asked what happened. Lawson reported CF had raped her. CF said they had consensual sex. Another student informed Mobelini that someone had obtained alcohol and marijuana in Times Square and carried it back to the in their backpack. Mobelini and the Hazard Police instructed them to get the underwear that Lawson was wearing when she was raped, following the visit to Washington, D.C. A lot of the drinking and the smoking could have been prevented if the teachers had just searched bags after letting a group of 51 students, I believe, roam
51.
Times Square.
Yeah, with
Which
these chaperones. And by the way, the chaperoning part is going to become an integral part into their defense against why it isn't their responsibility to investigate and to actually pursue any type of I mean anything really that like that it wasn't their job, their responsibility. And it's not said in that direct manner, but that's the
that's
essential vibe that you get.
and to clarify, 3 for 51 is 17 students per person, which is unmanageable. It's impossible to have one person control 17 different people. They're almost adults, adult enough to acquire alcohol and marijuana in Times Square.
It's not even in a classroom. It's in New York City.
New York City, yes, without bag checks. On October 23rd, 2019, Lawson brought this action asserting claims for negligent supervision and performance. Her complaint named the defendants as the Hazard High School and Hazard Independent Schools Board of Education. She also named Mobelini, Breeding Lester Mobelini, the mayor and principal. Off official and individual capacities following the period of discovery, the defendants moved for summary judgment based on governmental immunity and qualified immunity for Mobelini Glasser in their individual capacities on October 29, 2021, which is 2 years after the initial filing. A trial grant motion for summary judgment on the claims against the Hazard Independent Schools Board and Mobelini Breeding Glasser in official capacities. However, the court denied the individual defendant's motion for summary based on qualified immunity. The appeal followed. Additional facts will be set forth if necessary. As an initial matter, we note the denial motion for summary judgment is generally considered interlocutory, or which is not appealable. However, denying a substantial claim as qualified immunity is immediately appealable. So they're trying to use the qualified immunity as
Yeah,
just
so this is talking about case matter, the case laws that surround it in the Kentucky law. So this is talking about other similar cases that have had similar lawsuits in regard to what they're describing as a ministerial and a discretionary uh, supervising or chaperoning. So they're claiming that they weren't responsible in the sense that if they were at like school or something like that. So I'm not particularly sure of the legal difference, but that's part of their argument is that I think that it's a discretionary rather than I suppose what was the word? You'll see it in the document. I can't pronounce the word that I can't.
thing was there's a lot of it. It mostly covers. I was scrolling through, taking a quick glance. I couldn't really find anything besides just the reference documents, and they were going over just the reference documents and court
If
cases.
you well, I scrolled down. It took me a couple of pages. Let me pull it up. You can, yeah, go ahead. Scroll down a little bit here. Let's see, where are we? Yeah, so go past all this, and then this is talking about why it didn't, and this is explaining it, and yeah, keep going, and it's somewhere.
Okay, I think that's right here. It's for persons who conclude the fraud did not not in denier.
Denier.
I don't know what that is. Did not err in denying appellant's motion for summary judgment based on qualified. Of course, Lawson still bears the burden of proving actual negligence arising from the appellant's performance in the ministerial duties. There's also a factual question whether Mobelini was acting as a discretionary role while investigating Lawrence report of sexual assault by C. At this point in the proceedings, is not clear as to the fact actions were distinct from his supervisory and separating duties. Likewise, it is not pure that Lawson is asserting claims against Mobelini for arising these actions. Therefore, we must leave these matters to the trial court to resolve. Accordingly, we affirm Perry Court denying violence. I'll concur. And I think it's important to notice Mobelini is still the principal. He's still the principal. Hey, head guy.
Oh, no, he's not the principal anymore. He's
not still, but during this, he was.
Yeah, during this, yes,
Still the
he was
principal.
still the principal. And this is just more evidence to go towards what we talked about last time. And of course, it involves alcohol or some sort of substance abuse.
And at what point
And
is it
every
substance
single
abuse?
other time it has as well, except for the one time that he got twerked on.
Yeah, that was the one time he was they were all sober, which is odd.
Mhm.
But I think when we look through this, you have to think he's the principal. It's a 51 student trip, and it's his call, or generally would be his call, to bring more students. And he decided that one teacher per 17 students was adequate. That
And
it was. I mean, really, he had
so,
a major decision rules. I would imagine in the not checking the bags either.
well, and this is my view on exactly um how how it went down is it seems to me that they just don't want to take responsibility for what happened because of their lack of accountability. I mean, truly. And it's I don't know, it's a little weird, right? That you are chaperoning a bunch of maybe some adults, mostly minors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who are in a state where they don't live, where they may have never been, and you want to argue in a court of law after one of your students who you have at a school that you've worked at for so long, a district that you've worked at for so long, tells you that that they've been raped and sexually assaulted, and you don't believe that it's your duty to uh, help this individual pursue any type of legal action in accordance to what you do. I mean, you are a principal and an individual that's worked in the education system for decades at this point, and you're telling me that you don't have the individual capacity to say, hey, well, you know what, maybe I should assist you in getting the proper assistance that you need, especially when we return to Hazard. And I want to know, did they follow the what Hazard Police told them to do? Did they obtain the underwear? Did they try to? Were they denied to? I mean, I mean, what are the facts of
Because
the
that is
case,
a
and why wouldn't
major,
they
it's a
know this?
major part of this entire thing. Because I mean, let's be real here. Uh, in my opinion, I think she probably was raped. I mean, really and truly, a young woman in a hotel room by herself under the influence of drugs or and alcohol that she, or no, not drugs, but just the alcohol that she was given by another student, and a party which slipped by all of the teachers, by the way, just casually. Uh, and she's taken a hotel room, and the man who took advantage of a drunk woman claims was consensual, and the woman that immediately called her mother that could tell her that she was raped is supposedly, not. She's lying. So I think it's pretty hard to believe CF in this case. Um,
Well, and I think that it's appalling that that Mobelini and the other two teachers are arguing in a court of law that they are not responsible for minors, and that they're limited, or that it's out of the scope of their responsibilities. I think that is ridiculous.
that is
Uh,
it
I
is
think
absurd.
I think that it's not only is it ridiculous, but it's egregious that something like that happens on a school field trip, and there's, I mean, little to nothing
And
that
all of it
happens
was
about it.
easily preventable.
Right. All of it was easily preventable. And
And
this is what
yeah,
I'm saying. This plays into the larger idea that we have to question the actions that officials take, especially when the actions are repeated and consistent fuck ups. And I mean, that's the best way that you can describe.
mobile aiming. You cut out again. Always cutting out. Uh, when you have consistent mess ups, I mean, how many times can you have let one guy get away with it? If I rob a bank, you know, this is a drastic comparison. I rob a bank one time. Oopsie daisies, they let me off. You know, I walk into a store. I shoot up the store. Oopsie daisies, they let me off. I say over and over again, I commit all these bad things, and maybe it's not to the same degree, but I can do all these bad things over and over again. At what point do I know I'm doing wrong? And at what point do they have to actually take accountability? I had to take accountability, and they have to enforce accountability. Because I mean, he's doing all of
I
these
don't
things.
know what you've been saying. I apparently sound
You cut out. That's why I took over when you cut out.
okay.
I basically just made like kind of a drastic comparison. Let's say like I mean, if it was anybody else, if it was anybody in a bigger state, if it was in a school, I mean, hey, oh, I was driving in my car and they were smoking and drinking and I didn't notice. Okay, the
Yeah, I'm
bigger state.
sorry, don't know.
Oh, hey, the first time around, okay, it's a little weird. I left the football field, and the students who were on the football field with me now had, I think it was, what was it, six things of beer, six cartons or whatever of beer, and
Yeah.
it was like 12 bottles of liquor or something like that. A lot of liquor, uh, and you didn't notice that. I mean,
Like a fucking party back there.
yeah, they were literally throwing a party. And then next thing on the field trip, there's actually throwing a party, literally, with alcohol and marijuana,
In a
and student
hotel.
gets raped. And no one, in a hotel, which you supposedly were occasionally checking in,
The
and one
halls.
person was up all night. All night. You didn't hear the party. You never poked your head in, and didn't notice the people on the couch smoking, or the people with the obvious liquor bottles or anything like that. You didn't hear the woman, I would assume yelling, because she passed out after he left the room, after being raped. No one noticed. No, and the whistle. I'm not sure what the whistle was. I was just kind of like, just thrown in there, um,
Hmm.
which makes me wonder, like, if they could hear the whistle, they didn't notice the party or
Well,
the rape.
this is my thing. It seems to be that on the night that she was raped, they weren't entirely sure who was actually in the hallway
Yeah, they don't even know.
because yeah, from what I read, they had a little bit of differing accounts. They weren't they
Which
it's like they don't remember or something.
lets me think, if it just had my own eye, this isn't official or anything. What were they doing? No one can remember. They can remember every other night, not the night she was raped. No one can remember. Hey, on this school field trip with a guy who's supposed to have a good, at least a decent memory. I mean, hell, you're the mayor right now, and you were formerly the principal. Maybe you can remember. Maybe. But I mean, hey, you ask him any old question, he probably knows right on the spot how to defend himself. But you ask him about the girl that got raped on what night, who was watching, he probably has no idea.
Well, in my personal experience, if you ask him about anything that has to do with the county, he says, "Well, that's a county thing." And I understand, right, that from an official capacity, but in my viewpoint, if you are the mayor of essentially the town capital, not the county seat, right, is essentially Hazard. This is the city of Perry County. This is the Queen City of the Mountains. I mean, this is a representation of Southeast Kentucky, and
I mean, hell, there's a TV
you
show named
don't
after it.
have right. I mean, you don't have the gall to be like, hey, county, hey. I mean, you eat lunch every single day, damn near, with the judge executive of the fiscal court in Perry County, and you don't have the gall to be like, hey, what about this? What are we doing? If I was the mayor and someone came to me and asked me a damn question about something, if I didn't know, I think I would want to know. And I know I would want to know, and we would know. I mean, it's as simple as that. If you're an advocate for your people, you should be able to answer any of these people's questions. And I think it extends beyond the county. I think it extends to Southeast Kentucky. You have to be knowledgeable in Southeast Kentucky. I mean, you have to be integrated. These communities are small and reliant on each other. And he's just not willing to feed into that. And I mean, we have some exclusive content that may be coming out in the next couple months, but it's just interesting to see um
His
his
character.
answers to some his characters and answers to some things, and it's shocking that
Yes, very
you can
shocking.
call yourself an advocate but you don't reach out to any other community because, well, they're not the people that elected you. Are you worried about it get electing, or are you worried about improving people's lives? Because I think the people in Perry County are affected just as much as everyone else in Southeast Kentucky by all the shit ass legislation that gets passed.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, his character comes through in a lot of these things. His character, and I mean, hell, his person, if you got all these things against you, all these over and over again, what are you doing as mayor, man? I mean, it
Yeah,
makes you
and
wonder what is he not doing? What do we not know? I mean, because hell, I mean, principal, mayor, what things has he done as mayor that we don't know? That he's kind of he has a little more power in that circumstance, pushed it under. What do you not know?
well, let me send. Actually, I think I can send you the photos of the achievements that they've accomplished, supposedly over
Yeah,
the
we breathe
last
off to those, yeah.
yeah, over the last
Because I have to pop them up on the screen, but if you can send them over, I'll poke them.
yeah. I'm scrolling here. I'll send because I mean these hardly achievements if you ask me. I mean it's like, yeah, some of them are good and nice, and some of them are actually really helpful, but it's also like, yo, I mean, are they
Ping
really that
pong
good?
tables, I remember, was one of them, right?
Yeah, I added a ping pong table. We had a Christmas party. Uh,
Oof, wow, hey,
yeah.
God bless this little place, man. We're doing big moves. This is comparable to New York City. We put ping pong tables outside. We're making moves.
Oh yeah. Here we go. I'm sending this to you.
Let me take a gander at what you got to see. You gotta show me. I'll probably read them off because it's kind of a pain to get them actually on the screen, and
Hmm.
they probably can't even read it. Uh, let's see. These pictures are low quality.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't think I can even read this. You might have to read these off because I can't read.
Okay. Okay. Let's see here. I don't think it'll look quiet. I just think it's the way that it is.
It's stretched on my screen, so I can't really see.
Mm-hmm. So in 2019, this is what they accomplished, right? And I'll give you a couple of good ones, right? So they have a $2.3 million grant to provide gas to the Coalfield Industrial Park. So that's where they have it's they had a couple of things up there, some stuff left. They're supposed to have a drone port. There's a lot of stuff that they were supposed to have up there, but right now it's a company that does like phone call services and stuff. It was just like something that's hardly going to go anywhere in the next 10 years because they're never going to let no one build there. Um, and basically, it's like, oh, they built a dog park, which is great, right? I like the dog park. I take my dog to a dog park. Renovating the city basketball courts. Some of these years, like in this year, they did do a lot, right? They had a strategic plan being finalized with the Kentucky League of Cities. They shop with the firemen. They enacted Sunday liquor laws, which I guess alcoholics love that. They did the amphitheater. They had handicap parking outside in City Hall for once, which it took them till 2019, guys. But
Good job,
uh,
guys.
and, and despite COVID, they did a lot of what seems to be improvements just to the general like look of the town here. And I understand, COVID was going on. They did some demolition and road utilities. Let's see. There was one on here that was really funny to me. I think it was on this one, if I can find it. Hmm. Because I mean, it's like they're installing city cameras throughout the city, and it's like, yeah, some of this is good, but it's God, like they hosted the Fourth of July celebration in 2020 despite COVID. It's a celebration, right? I mean, you're spending taxpayer money so you can celebrate one day of the year, which is a good celebration, but like,
It's not an accomplishment.
I mean, yeah, it's not an accomplishment. This is the 2020's accomplishment. They signed an energy savings contract with Train, which is good, which they replaced water and gas meters and stuff. I don't think it's on this one. They expanded intersections and stuff for entrances to businesses. And I mean, this stuff is good. I think it's on the next one here. Let me see. 2021. Yeah, so this is when they started redoing all the water pipes and stuff. Actually, the city of Hazard owns the water pipes in the county for the most part. They Let's see, where is it? They had like they had a small town in Christmas. Just it's all this stuff. They had 16 new businesses, and a lot of this stuff it does sound good and it is good, but they built bathrooms and a fireplace at the farmers market, and they still don't, and there's still homeless people, by the way. Um,
Got a population of 5,000.
Right. I mean, they created a partnership with the UK School of Design first year for the junior fellows and third year of the civic fellows. They had a splash pad installed, which, okay, outdoor ping pong table. Um, God, where is it? I want to find my favorite one here. Uh, I love it so much. Okay, so the splash pad was operational in 2022. They destroyed the Grand Hotel building.
Oh, what exactly is a splash pad, by the way?
It's like a water park thing, little water park thing. They got grants announced for the Buckhorn Water Plant and the Water and Sewage Improvement grants. They got TGIF, okay, for kids in the parks and hazard care, okay. Focus SOAR, and in 2022 we had a very terrible flood. Let's see, there were more businesses and stuff opened. God, where is it? Where is the one that they're like, yeah, we're taking more of your money. Your God, where is it? I must find it. It's my favorite one out of all of them.
No,
I'm looking for my favorite one where they I think it
so, like it kind of sounds like you're glazing the guy at certain aspects.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to him and
No,
say
you're not
that
gonna
it
lie and
hasn't
say it's
improved.
bad.
I mean, well,
Where's
but
the bad rolling? But no, the ping pong tables were. It's. I
well,
feel like it's not an accomplishment or
I
fireworks.
mean, you really have to look at these photos because there's so many different ones.
There is a
It's
lot,
hard
yeah.
to.
And I don't think
It,
the have good. That was my issue.
right. We'll have to kind of find a way to put them into the screen a little bit better because I would like to show these at another point. I'm trying to find the one, but it was basically like, yeah, we increased your water bill for improvements to infrastructure, but they said it in a way that didn't say that. I'm
Corporate,
trying to
like
find it.
it's like lingo or jargon. It makes it sound better than what it is.
Mm-hmm. Where is it? I must have it. Improvements, improvements, improvements. Oh my goodness.
While you're doing that, I do want to talk
Yeah,
about
you want to.
something. There was a Mobile County shooting somewhere.
Really?
Yeah, a shoot off, a standoff, something like that. It was 8 hours ago, I believe. Last time I checked.
Damn.
If I can even find it, just maybe one day ago.
Where is this damn thing?
Mobile shooting leaves 1 inch. Should police investigate? Maybe this is it. Nope, this is not it. I had found an article and I can't find it again. Right, of course, right. Basically, yeah, shooting standoff. I had like police, the big police trucks out there and everything. It's like, whoa. Yeah, it reminds me because I see a lot of those trucks bring out, and at times it makes me wonder. It's like maybe like the guy that like arrested some guy, they'll whip out the big police truck. That's like it's like dude, where we get the money for this?
So, under the 2019 City of Hazard accomplishments, this is my favorite one that they've achieved. Water rates increased to allow for infrastructure improvements. That's an achievement that they approved that they accomplished for Perry County. By the way, they helped you guys pay more for your water bills. What I'm understanding. If I'm wrong, maybe they should let me know. But if that's man, if that's an accomplishment, I think smoking meth for the first time is also
Hey, let's check out
amazing.
this one right here. This is an interesting one. Oh, and they want me to pay for it the second I bring it up. Uh,
All right.
Sheriff. Oh no, bring me back to the article. More MS-13 gang members could be in Mobile County. Now that
How many are there?
yeah, I can't even look at it, dude. I hate when news
Right.
like who was paying for Lagna Appy Mobile? What is Lagna Appy? I'm
I
not
don't
paying.
know. I
I'm not
wouldn't
paying.
pay them.
I'm not paying them either. I don't care that much about the shooting. Who is this guy? Mobile is he was a real
He
shoot.
was Archbishop.
Hey,
Yeah, man.
Yippee! Anyways, here it is. But basically, yeah, I didn't know MS-13 was a big fan of Mobile. To be honest, it's not every day you go to Mobile and you run into
Well,
MS-13.
actually, did
It's
you
support city.
see in did you see the ice raid? Actually, I think we're gonna have to get in that next time because we're at a
We are at hour 32. Yeah.
yeah. This is where we start to run into the problems.
The how do we conclude a podcast? That's our issue. We don't know. We're not very
How do
good,
we
and we're not
conclude the
very good at
podcast?
starting one either.
Well, I mean, how
We'll
you
have to
start a
work.
place? Say,
Yeah, well, hey, I mean, we say we're local to local, but then we got, I think, well, I mean, we covered a lot of stuff there. We covered Lake and Snelling. We covered Mobelini and his school trip. We covered several other
yeah,
topics.
we talked about a lot.
Chris Gooch. I love that name, by the way, Mr. Gooch.